Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today's read is not a 2A news read. However, it is an article, a short little article that was put out by Dr. Thomas Sowell that I would like to share with you. And I think that he makes some excellent points. And I believe you'll come away from this with a great deal of understanding. And I think that he's very balanced in his views. And I'd like to share this particular read with you. It won't take very long, but I do want to read this and elaborate on it a little bit. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Ammunition Depot. They are a great supporter of the channel. We've had great experience with them. Their shipping is super fast. They've got a great selection. If you do decide to do business with Ammo Depot, use the code IV8888. Get yourself free shipping on orders over $150. So check them out, ammunitiondepot.com. Really good folks, and tell them that Eric over at Iraq Veteran sent you over. Okay, we're going to get into this and get this read on. It's called The Point of No Return by Dr. Thomas Sowell. This was put out August 2nd. So this is a new op-ed from Dr. Sowell, which anytime something new pops out, I'm on it like a moth to the flame. I'm a big fan of Dr. Sowell's work. This is an election year, but the issues this year are not about Democrats and Republicans. The big issue is whether this nation has degenerated to a point of no return. A point where we risk destroying ourselves before our enemies can destroy us. If there is one moment that symbolized our degeneration, it was when an enraged mob gathered in front of the Supreme Court and a leader of the United States Senate shouted threats against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, saying, "You won't know what hit you." There have always been irresponsible demagogues, but there was once a time when anyone who shouted threats to a Supreme Court justice would see the end of his own political career and could not show his face in decent society again. You either believe in laws or you believe in mob rule. It doesn't matter whether you agree with the law or agree with the mob on some particular issue. If threats of violence against judges and publishing where a judge's children go to school is the way to settle issues, then there is not much point in having elections or laws. There is also not much point in expecting to have freedom. Threats and violence were the way the Nazis came to power in Germany. Freedom is not free. If you can't be bothered to vote against stormtrooper tactics, regardless of who engages in them, or over what issue, then you can forfeit your freedom. Worse yet, you can forfeit the freedom of generations not yet born. Some people think that the Supreme Court has banned abortions. It has done nothing of the sort. The Supreme Court has in fact done something very different, something long overdue and potentially historic. It is said that their own court had no business making policy decisions when nothing in the Constitution gave them the authority to make. Get out a copy of the Constitution and see if you can find anything in there that says the federal government is authorized to make laws about abortion. Check out the 10th Amendment, which says that the federal government is limited to the specific powers it was granted, with all other powers going to the states or to the people. Why do we elect legislators to do what the voters want done if unelected judges are going to make up laws on their own instead of applying the laws that elected officials passed? This is part of a very long struggle that has been going on more than 100 years. Back in the early 20th century, progressives like President Woodrow Wilson decided that the Constitution put too many limits on the powers they wanted to use. Claiming that it was nearly impossible to amend the Constitution, progressives advocated that judges interpret the constitutional laws out of the way. That was just the first in a long series of sophistries. In reality, the Constitution was amended 4 times in 8 years, from 1913 through 1920, during the heyday of the progressive era. When the people wanted the Constitution amended, it was amended. When the elites wanted the Constitution amended, but the people did not, they called it democracy. Another great sophistry was using the federal government's authority to regulate interstate commerce to call all sorts of other things interstate commerce. Hello, 2A world. In 1995, elites were shocked when the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that carrying a gun near a school was not interstate commerce. States had a right to ban carrying a gun near a school, and most of them did. But the federal government had no such authority, nor did the Constitution give the federal government the right to make laws about abortion one way or the other. What both state and federal laws do have the right to stop is threats against judges and their families, This is not a partisan issue. The Republican governor of Virginia is providing protection to Supreme Court justices who live in that state. But the Republican governor of Maryland seems to think that harassing judges and their families is no big deal. Voters need to find out who is for or against mob rule, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. We are not going to be a free or decent society otherwise. Wow. I mean, I read this and I was taken aback at Dr. Sowell's just blatant honesty. He's so blunt and so straight to the point and so honest, and that honesty is so appreciated in this world we live in, where it seems like everyone just wants to fly this flag. You know, they want to fly their D flag, their R flag, their L flag, whatever. But they don't want to concentrate on being better people. They want the party to do the thinking for them. They want these groups to do the thinking for them. They want this group dogma to take hold, where they just get to kind of simply take the hands-off approach and go, well, that's what the party wants to do, so I don't have to do the thinking because the thinking, the party does the thinking for me, or the guy on the news does the thinking for me. I'm not going to seek things out on my own and try to figure these things out. Dr. Thomas Sowell is absolutely spot on, 110% correct. And when you look at our political spectrum and all the people that are involved in it, and when you look at just our administration, look at the people who are serving in government and look at their age, look how old they are, and look how long many of them have been in government, right? So you mean a person's been in government 40, 50 years and they still haven't solved things yet? They still haven't fixed the problem? But yet their bank account keeps getting bigger. Their influence grows, their power grows, but the problems just stay the same. It's a revolving door. And they're completely happy with lame duck politics, right? They're completely happy with doing whatever they feel like they need to do to hold on to that grift, to hold on to that power that they have, right? If they can't fix it in 40, 50 years, they're never going to fix it. And when you look at what a lot of these people are saying, the older generation of people who are still serving in Congress and things like that, you think, man, they're so out of touch. Right? You hear that said quite a bit. These people are out of touch. They don't understand what the younger generation wants, right? They don't care what the younger generation wants. All they want to do is leave behind a legacy to their family that they can go, yep, I set my people up right. And when you look at someone like Dr. Sowell, who is definitely, I think he's in his mid to late 80s. So, Dr. Sowell's definitely not a young man. But to see such a based take from Dr. Sowell, even in his advanced age, that tells you that his age has given him wisdom, that his age has given him a better view of the times. He understands who the victims of the times are. It's you, it's me, it's us, it's all of us. And I was so taken aback by his words in this particular, article here, this little op-ed. And he's spot on. And for someone, that's the type of wisdom that you get from your grandfather or your grandmother or someone who's known you their whole life, right? Your grandfather, who is in their mid to late 80s, doesn't turn to you and go, well, I know I've known you your whole life, but I know nothing about you. Wouldn't that be weird for you to ask your grandfather for advice and you get really terrible advice because they haven't even cared to pay attention to your upbringing? They weren't a part of your upbringing? Right? No, Dr. Sowell has paid attention. He has seen all of these transgressions that have been made against you and I, we the people. And he's laying them out right there in black and white for you to see. Now, it's just, wow, what a piece of writing. I mean, I agree so much with Dr. Sowell. So I wanted to share this particular op-ed. I thought it was fantastic. I am a huge fan of Dr. Sowell, and his books are amazing. And I will say that I feel that academia in general has treated him very terrible. And I think that he has not gotten the respect that he deserves and has not gotten the respect that he deserves as a thinker. And I think he's one of the greatest thinkers of our time, especially that is still with us here. He's a national treasure, and I wanted to share these words with you. It's all going to be okay. All right, I promise everything will be okay. We will persevere. We will always pull forward together. Have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, check out Ammo Depot. Use the code IV8888. You can get free shipping on orders over $150, which is a great value. Ammo costs a lot of money now, so if you can save on shipping, that's always a good thing. Also, go over to Ballistic Ink and pick yourself up a snazzy new t-shirt. That's one way you can support our channel directly if you wish to do so. Thank you so much for being a part of what we do. I wanted to share this. I know it's not exactly 2A related, but it was just too good not to share. Have a good one. Many more on the way. We'll see you soon.